Hello, everyone, and welcome to PopSicle, where I talk about pop culture, science, and everything in between. This is a special bonus episode where I just give quick thoughts on a film that just recently came out on Netflix. It's called Project Power, and it is or passes off itself as science fiction, but more appropriately is part of the superhero fiction genre of film. It is directed by Henry Joost and Ariel Schulman and stars Joseph Gordon-Levitt and Jamie Foxx. Now, just some quick random thoughts about it. By the way, this is not a review. I don't set out to do reviews of films. I don't consider myself a film critic in that sense, at least. But since I just came out with episode one, which is about evolution in science fiction, I felt that it was very timely, having just watched this last night, to talk about it in the context of evolution. Now, this movie, while entertaining in most parts, falls into the trap that a lot of science fiction movies that touch on evolution do, which is to say that organisms or humans that are individually changing and having special abilities are on their way to leading humanity, Homo sapiens, into evolution. Now, that brings us to a fundamental misunderstanding of evolution in that individuals evolve. The reality is, as far as we can understand evolution, evolution works on the population level, meaning it has to be working on the level of a group of organisms of the same species. Any change in the anatomy or the physiology of a single individual is just developmental change during its lifetime. For you to be able to say that evolution is working on the population level, then you have to see significant changes in the frequencies of what are called alleles, which are the alternative forms of genes. So one superpower appearing in one individual is not the species evolving, especially if you talk about a trait that is instantaneously developed from drinking a pill. Okay. First of all, the effects of such genetic tweaking and tweaking the developmental pathways, including gene expression, won't be that quick. Definitely not. And also will not have a time limit of 5 minutes as indicated in the movie. Uh, but most glaringly, what really makes this movie rather silly and absurd from a biological perspective is that the pills supposedly give humans superpowers based on animal abilities. The most extreme one being, and spoiler alert, but although I won't mention which character showed it, um, the ability of a pistol shrimp to convert water to plasma or to heat it up to the temperature nearly equivalent to that of the sun's surface. There is an animal like that. It's true. The pistol shrimp is able to do that by snapping its two molar. It's the two parts of its large pincer together at very high speeds. It is able to generate a bubble that, in a very short amount of time, has extremely high temperature. Then, of course, it will be able to stun prey. Okay. And then there are other powers indicated there that come from the cheetah and from jellyfish, I believe, and from salamanders, etc., etc. Now, whatever thing you do to your genetics to be able to gain the ability to produce such feats, if your body is biophysically limited to not be able to do much with that, then there's no use. A pistol shrimp is able to do that because of its size, which is very small, and because of its anatomy, having that distinct shape to its pincer. We don't have those things. We don't have pincers to be able to create that much pressure at a very short amount of time. So we are really constrained by developmental pathways and by biophysical limitations that won't allow us to be able to generate these superpowers. On top of that, you have the depiction of a superpower I don't know where they say it comes from. Probably the armadillo or a related organism. Um, but one of the superpowers depicted in the movie is invulnerability to the point where they become bulletproof. There is no animal, unfortunately, that is bulletproof. Okay, if even the most heavily armored organisms will easily get killed by a bullet, as we have proven so many times in wildlife hunting. So, entertaining as the movie is, and with some or okay performances from the actors, in the perspective of science, it's not that good. However, it bears noting that one aspect of uh, the evolution, I suppose, that they got sort of right is that there is the concept of heritability. I did mention in episode 1 that to be able to have a trait that is evolvable, it has to be heritable. So they got that right because there's one character that inherits the powers. However, that's only half of the equation. The other half of the evolvability of a new trait is directional selection, meaning there's selection in favor of that trait being passed on from generation to generation because it confers a survival advantage on the individuals that have it. Okay? It's too soon to be able to say that it will, although these are amazing powers to have. However, to be able to see that, we have to see it on a bigger level, which is the population, and over a certain amount of time. So I'd say all in all, it's not good science fiction, but I still encourage you to watch it and judge for yourself.